I've been at odds with the hawks for a long time. I've thought for a long time that their fears about inflation are misplaced, that the underlying theory that they are reflecting is that the one-time burst of monetary creation and fiscal stimulus that we saw in the United States and around the world during the pandemic, that one-time shock could lead to a permanent, persistent price increases to ongoing inflation. And I don't see that, Karen. We've had a one-time increase in the money supply that generated a one-time increases in prices, and now it's over. Prices are flattening out right now around the world. And as they flatten out, the year-over-year changes in prices that are inflation, they're going to drop toward zero, or at least toward target, if not to zero. And in the case of Europe or the UK, below zero if we get a credit crunch and a deep recession that follows that. So I think the hawks right now have a hard case to prove. The assertion that the last few tenths of a percent of inflation are going to be the most difficult, that has no basis in fact or experience or theory. And the observation is that prices are stabilizing now across the board. And that, to my mind, sets a course for monetary policy in the new year that's probably going to involve not a good bit, but a not insignificant amount of interest rate reduction.
Carl, I wanted to just tap into your view on how the U.S. consumer is holding up to the wash-up of Thanksgiving and Cyber Week, telling us that Americans are still spending, but a lot of it is taking place online. What subtleties are you now seeing? Do you think consumer behavior is just slowly turning around thanks to higher credit costs and some of the weakening we're seeing across the economy?
Yeah, Karen, you hit the story right on the head there. Slowly turning around. All right. Consumers are just waking up to the fact that they're financing their spending by running up their credit cards, and that the interest on those credit cards are over the top, out of control, off the hook right now. And that's going to lead to, I think, a retrenchment in consumer spending as we get into the new year. Now, is that enough to cause a recession? I don't know. Right, we've never seen anything quite like this before. I can guess it'll certainly cause a slowdown, but is it enough to throw the economy into recession? Right now, our hypothesis at High Frequency Economics is that it won't cause a recession, but it will lead to a slowdown, and that's our forecast for the new year. But the risk is, and I agree it's a non-trivial risk, that consumers get into trouble. We've seen figures out of the New York Fed that show that delinquencies on credit cards are up, that debt burdens are up, and real incomes have just started coming back again, and not by nearly enough to cover some of the increases in the debt burdens that we're seeing. So credit to the household sector, consumer credit, credit cards, that's where the downside risk is. That's where the risk to this Goldilocks forecast is. And I'm watching it. But until we have a change in facts, I'm not prepared to predict that it's all going to come, that the wheels are going to come off the bus.